This video is made possible by Zing Cases. Visit zingcases.com for a whole range of cases and accessories for your smartphone. What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video we're going to be doing a benchmark and speed comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the iPhone 5s. So in the usual style, we'll do a boot up test followed by a benchmark test, then we'll do some standard app tests and see which device comes out on top. Now we'll do this a little bit differently this time, and what we'll do after each test is give the winning device a point, and if it's a draw then both devices get a point. This way at the end it will be easier to see an overall winner from all the tests that we do. So kicking off with a boot test, so we'll power both devices up at the same time to see which device boots up first. Now we'll speed this up slightly so that we don't have to bore you. And the Samsung Galaxy S5 comes in first at roughly about 18 seconds, which is quite impressive. And the iPhone 5s, we're still waiting for it, and it comes in roughly about after 27 seconds. So the Samsung Galaxy S5 does win this test and it gets a point for the boot up test, booting up quite a bit faster compared to the iPhone 5s. Now moving on to a benchmark test, we're going to be using Geekbench 3, which is available on both devices. So we'll start it off both up at the same time, and skipping through to the results, the iPhone 5s does finish first at roughly about 29 seconds. The Samsung Galaxy S5 finishes roughly about 47 seconds later. Now although the iPhone 5s has a higher single core score, the overall multi-core score is higher on the Samsung Galaxy S5. So once again the point here does go to the Samsung Galaxy S5 for having the overall higher benchmarking score. Now moving on to a browser test, so we're using the default browsers on both devices, and we're going to be opening up The Verge, which is quite a heavy website. So the mobile website, pretty much neck and neck, it opened up at the same time on both devices. Now let's go on to the full site, which is very heavy, and see which device loads it up first. Now I want you to concentrate on the top, which is the reason why we've got a zoomed in image there, and look out for which device loads up the full website first. And we can see the blue bar on the Samsung Galaxy S5 finishes first, and we've still got that circle whirring away on the iPhone 5s. So it did load up the full website first on the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now moving on to an article, so we start seeing the content first on the iPhone 5s, and it also finishes loading first on the iPhone 5s compared to the Samsung Galaxy S5. So for this test I am going to call it draw, because for the mobile site both devices finished loading it at the same time, but for the full site the Samsung Galaxy S5 did finish first fully, and the iPhone 5s did load up the article first, so we'll give 1 point to each device here. Now moving on to an app test, so we're using a popular app which is Instagram, opening up both at the same time. And although we started seeing the content first on the iPhone 5s, it did finish loading first on the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now moving on to all images, a split second quicker on the iPhone 5s here, so we'll call this one a draw once again, so 1 point to each device here. Now for our final test, we're going to be opening up a game, so Temple Run 2 is available on both, so opening them both up at the same time. We can see that the iPhone this time did load it up a split second quicker than the Samsung Galaxy S5. Very little between it, but the point does go to the iPhone 5s here. So there we have it, the benchmark and speed test between the Samsung Galaxy S5 and the iPhone 5s. Both did really well, but the edge does go to the Samsung Galaxy S5, which won overall in more tests compared to the iPhone 5s. Now that's not to say that the iPhone 5s is slow in any way, it's a few months old, but it did hold up really well, and that does partly come down to the fact that you've got the stock iOS experience, whereas on the Samsung Galaxy S5 you've not got the stock Android experience. You've got TouchWiz on top, which slows it down slightly, and you've also got a higher resolution on the Samsung Galaxy S5, 1080p versus 640p on the iPhone 5s, so on-screen performance is still also affected. Now we did try to keep this test as fair as possible, as you saw, and I know some fanboys will still get their knickers in a twist, so there's nothing I can do about that. I've kept this test as fair as possible, and these are the results, and this is just the way it is. But nevertheless, both are very fast and snappy. You're not going to have any issues running your day-to-day tasks on either of these devices. They're both some of the fastest devices out there at the moment. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, feel free to leave this video a thumbs up, it really does help out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty of content coming up on here. Thanks for watching, this is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so you know, yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay, there isn't really a downstairs. Anyway, so yeah.